Good morning, it's Thursday morning, and we are here to grab a little wisdom from the book of Proverbs. And this morning, we're at Proverbs chapter 19 and verse 2. Let me read the verse to you, and then we'll talk about it. Desire without knowledge is not good, and he who makes haste with his feet misses his way. Desire without knowledge is not good. Now, desire and knowledge are both very good things, right? Desire, not evil desire, that's sin, but godly desires, good desires, the desire to do well, the desire to please God, the desire to please others and serve others. All of those are good things. Knowledge gained through experience, know-how, as we would call it, the knowledge of God, the knowledge of the Bible, the knowledge of applying the Bible to real life. That's a really good thing. But when these become separated, it's a recipe for disaster. They belong together. Desire without knowledge is not good. Now, there are plenty of examples in the Bible of those who lived out their desires without knowledge, but the poster boy for desire without knowledge is none other than the Apostle Peter. Now, Peter takes kind of a bad rap because we think of him as impetuous and doing the wrong thing, even with the best of intentions, right? He often did. And we, however, I think he gets a bad rap because he was a good man and God was working in his life. Jesus chose him for a reason. We'll get to that, but let's look at some of his missteps, because the rest of the verse says that he who makes haste with his feet misses his way, and Peter missed his way occasionally. Three occasions come to mind. The first is when the disciples were in a boat. Jesus had sent them out before him to go in a boat on the sea, and it began to get choppy, and the waves were battering the boat, and Jesus came to them on the water. And Peter sees Jesus and says, "Let me come to you on the water." And so Jesus says, "Okay." And Peter started to walk on the water, but then he looked at the waves around him and he began to sink. And Jesus rescued him and left him with a question, "Why did you doubt?" You know, Peter had the right desire, but he should have known better and not taken that step if he was going to look at the waves rather than Jesus. Another occasion comes later when the disciples are together before Jesus is arrested, and Jesus tells them that one of you will betray me. And all of them, to a person, they went around the circle, and each of them said, "It's not me, not me, not me," including Peter. And Peter went further. He said, "If everybody else denies you, I will not." And in his defense, all of the other disciples said exactly the same thing. But Peter was the one who vocalized it. Peter was the one who stepped out and ended up making a little bit of a fool of himself, because later, of course, he did deny the Lord 3 times. Jesus told him he would, and he did. He denied Jesus 3 times. He should have known better. He should have known that he was weak and that the potential for denying Jesus was there, but he didn't know any better. And so that's a second occasion. A third is when Jesus is arrested in the Garden of Gethsemane, and Judas brings the soldiers, and the soldiers come, and the servant of the high priest reaches out his hand toward Jesus, and Peter draws his sword and cuts off the servant's ear. And Jesus rebukes him and scolds him because he should have known better. He should have known that this was God's plan, that Jesus go to the cross and be arrested. Desire without knowledge is not good. Now, what about you? Are there areas of your life where you have the desire to do something, and maybe without thinking, you don't apply the knowledge and you get into trouble, as Peter did? Desire without knowledge is not good. It's important not only that we have the desire to please God, the desire to obey and to do good, but that we also have the knowledge of ourselves. We know our strengths and we know our weaknesses. We know our potential and we know our limitations. Because if you don't, you will make haste to do something and you'll miss the mark. You'll miss your way, as the scripture says. So today, set out with great desire and a knowledge of yourself, a knowledge of God, and put those two together. Don't pull a Peter. Don't pull a Peter. But if you do, remember, Jesus chose Peter to be the rock upon which he would build his church. Jesus knew that, but he also knew Peter. And Jesus knows who you are. You have a purpose. He has a purpose for you. And even when you pull a Peter, Jesus will grow you through that misstep into the person that he wants you to be. God bless your Thursday. Listen into our, take a watch of our Bible study from last night. It was really, really good. I hope you take the time to watch it or to listen to it in your car. And God bless your Thursday.